Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins 0. In the last episode, Rintaro Okabe underwent a routine therapy session with his psychologist, sorry. I don't know why I keep getting that wrong, or physiologist or whatever. Anyway, Rintaro went through a routine therapy session to try and purge from his mind the memories of the tragedy of Kurisumakase. Unfortunately, those memories aren't going to be going away anytime soon. Shortly afterwards, Rintaro was greeted once again by his childhood friend Mayuri, who does not die on this particular world line. Which is probably the only silver lining to all this. After a bit of chatter, Mayuri decided to invite Rintaro back to the city of Akihabara. And here we are again. Home again, diggity tick. And there's actual ambience this time. We can actually hear people walking around. Not much people as usual, but until the events of this summer, I'd gone there almost every day. In fact, I practically lived there. Lately I only went about 3 times a week at the most. And then only to go shopping on the way home from school, or rather university. We went out into the plaza in front of the station. Just like in Ikebukuro, even though it was only a month until Christmas, there were barely any decorations. That's rather interesting, because in most places you'd see retail stores and all sorts gearing up for Christmas several months in advance. Way back in October when Halloween is happening, no less, or probably before then, back in September. I was sure the whole place would be covered in them the minute it was December 1st, but it's the 29th, but there aren't any sign of any decorations. Eventually, I was sure to see maids in Santa outfits. I think we have I think I can see Faris's hand in that particular mental image.
Akihabara でチラシを配るサンタ服を着たメイドか。
Only in Akihabara, Rintaro. Akihabara could be really weird, given the fact that it is basically the central hub of Moe culture at the moment. And lo and behold, the very first doo-doo-doo of Steins 0. Let us hope that it is not the last. And Faris and Ruka are on their way. And Faris, Mayuri still calls Faris Ferris, like Ferris wheel or something like that. And there's Faris, the cat maid, queen of May Queen Yan Yan, dressed entirely in a winter cat suit, literally, just because she's a cat maid. And there is Ruka Urushibara, Rukuko. Faris and Ruka must have been waiting. They ran over as soon as they saw us. Faris Nyan Yan jumped at me without the slightest hesitation. Hopefully, well, it's already too late to hope that nobody's gonna stare at us. She was a cat maid, and Faris wasn't her real name. I knew her real name, which is Rumiho Akiha, but if I didn't call her Faris at all times, even when she wasn't working, she'd get mad at me. She was wearing the same outfit she always wore, her work clothes from her job at the maid cafe May Queen Yan Yan. Was May Queen going to switch to Santa outfit soon? If Faris has her way, probably. Definitely. It's a very good thing that Daru isn't one of them, because Daru is a Faris otaku. I tried to pull Faris off me, but it wasn't working. Maybe I should just steal the cat ears off her head. I don't think that's going to work in this case.
京馬とフェイリスの仲だにゃ。
よくない。あと、京馬っていうのもやめてくれって。
Faris speaks in a rather peculiar dialect known as Nyan Nyanian, which is basically, she makes cat noises. Basically, Nyan is meow, basically. And we are no longer Horin Kyoma.
なんで？
Because he is dead and buried, never to
あの名前
return.
は黒歴史だからだ。
What is the dark past? In its slang, an embarrassing part of your history that you'd rather not talk about and wish was forgotten. Its origin can be found in a certain famous giant robot mecha anime. We'll call it Gundam. Hoen Kyoma is no more, Faris. Sorry to disappoint you, but that's the truth. Faris looked upset, but I decided to ignore her. Hoen Kyoma was part of a past I'd sealed away. I decided to pretend he never existed. He had meddled with a forbidden invention called the time machine, and as a result, the systems that ruled the world had punished him. He dashed the hopes of many, lost the life of someone he cared for, and his heart had suffered grievous wounds. He must never be awakened again. I didn't need him anymore, so as of this moment, Rintaro Okabe is just your normal university student.
じゃあ、なんて呼べばいいのかにゃ。
そりゃあ、岡部とか。
Okabe or Okarine.
やっぱりオカリンって呼ぶのが可愛くていいんじゃないかな。ねえ、フェリスちゃん。
By the way, Faris is what Mayuri calls Faris. She claimed it was easier to pronounce, or something like that.
マユシーが言うならこれからそう呼ぶにゃ。なんだか違和感あるけど。
Faris enjoys her tete-a-tete with Hoen Kyoma. However, even the insane mad scientist of old could barely keep up with the improvisation skills of this imaginative cat maid. She looked unsatisfied, but she backed away. That's one thing.
ルカ子も久しぶりだな。
はい。
Rukiko smiled happily. He always looks as beautiful as a pretty girl. That is his curse. But he's a guy. He was a classmate of Mayuri's and could often be seen helping at Yanabayashi Shrine, where his family lived. Of course, that being the case, Rukiko was often dressed in the Guardian Miko robes for some reason, or rather, we never really found out why. Anyway, as to what Yanabayashi Shrine is, it's a small shrine in Akihabara. Cross Mansebashi Bridge and go down the side street. Then go under the bridge there and you'll see it along the river. Home to many stray cats, as well as Ruka Urushibara. I probably shouldn't call him Rukago anymore, just as I told Faris not to call me Kiyoma. He had his own name, Ruka Urushibara. But calling Rukago Ruka after all this time, that would be really embarrassing.
なんだかとても懐かしいような気がします。
Indeed, it has been a long time.
僕、時々ラボに顔を出すんですけど、岡部さん、最近あんまり来ていませんよね。
You certainly seem busy. Been busy as of late.
あ
The Future Gadget Laboratory is also consigned to the dark
あ、大学
past.
のゼミが忙しいんだ。ATF の準備もあったしな。
Even after that was done, I've been busy with Maho and Dr. Liskanen. And then Amadeus. I hadn't had a chance to rest. But I avoided mentioning that to them. By the way, Ruka is, or at the very least was, the disciple of Hoin Kiyoma, of a special type of swordsmanship that I cannot immediately recall the name of. The Zama Sensei School of Swordsmanship, or whatever it is. Which is also consigned to the dark past, but Rintaro actually gave Rukako a very special sword called Samadare, which Rukako has been practicing with for quite some time now.
あとサークル活動もしてるしな。
Why'd you
サ
believe
ークル
it?
に入ったんですか？何のサークルかにゃ？やっぱり UFO とか UMA とか。
I don't think it's that kind of club, Faris. But UMAs, never heard of them. But well, I've never heard of this particular vernacular. Identified mysterious animal, a creature whose existence has not been confirmed by science. Examples include the Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, or the Japanese Kappa and Tsuchinoko. The word UMA itself was invented by the Japanese and no one outside of Japan will recognize it, just like me. UFO. If you don't know what this is, I'll proceed to tell you. It's an unidentified flying object, usually to refer to spacecraft piloted by aliens. This term actually describes any kind of flying object whose nature is unknown. As I just said, those aren't the clubs that Rintaro Okabe is joining. Who do you guys think I am? Hoin Kiyoma? I guess I hadn't told them then. Mayuri, I'm pretty sure I told her as much. As the two of them looked at me with wide eyes, I cracked a knowing smile and puffed out my chest.
テニスサークルだ。
Apparently, Rintaro is now in tennis. So, actually come to think of it, a while ago I actually used to play, I occasionally played badminton and tennis when I was in high school, but not anymore. And Ruka and Faris are quite surprised at, as to the sudden revelation of the new direction of Rintaro Okabe. The people around us all turned to stare at Faris and Ruka.
なんでテニスサークルなのかにゃ？
Because we need to exercise and get in shape. Hoin Kiyoma was not the best in the exercise department.
岡部さん、 今までテニスなんてやってましたっけ？
初心者に決まっているだろう。
But it's a good chance to learn something new. I may not look it, but I'm terrible at sports. I'm confident I'd lose to Mayuri at distance running.
じゃあにゃんで？
話せば長くなるんだが。
I'm sure we have time to explain as all the passers-by and pedestrians keep milling about.
大学のゼミの
us.
准教授がテニスサークルの顧問なんだ。それで勧誘された。
That would probably be Professor Izaki from Tokyo Denki.
一つも長くないにゃ。
まあ聞けって。相手は一応世話になってる人だし、サークルに顔を出してみたんだ。
Basically, we're a work in progress as far as tennis is concerned.
そうしたら、なんと俺にはテニスの才能があるらしくてな。初心者にもかかわらず、会員相手に連戦連勝だったんだ。
So apparently Rintaro does have a modicum of talent after all. Other than the power of reading Steiner, he has the ability for tennis. Unfortunately for Faris, he is rather displeased with Rintaro's rather mundane, ordinary life.
どうだ、大したもんだろ。
I don't know if Faris would think so, but Ruka and Mayuri would certainly find it amazing.
はあ。岡部さんってやっぱりすごいです。
こんなことならプロテニスプレイヤーを目指しておけばよかったかな。
Careful, Rintaro. You're dipping your feet into Ho in Kiyoma territory.
目指せウィンブルドンだね。
As Mayuri says in the Steins anime, look out Wimbledon, here comes Ocarine. And Faris is still disappointed.
どうしたフェイリス、頭でも痛いのか。
どこからどう突っ込めばいいのやら。どう考えてもサークルの会員数を増やすための罠じゃないかにゃ。
And Faris is trying to weave yet another tall tale from her imagination.
はっきり言うなよ。俺もうすうすそうじゃないかと思ってたけど、考えないようにしてるんだから。
Well, when you're good at something, you're good at something.
でもみんないい人ばっかりなんだぞ。
じゃあサークルの練習が忙しいんですね。
Rukako seems quite impressed at our tennis prowess, which is good to
いや
know.
練習はあんまりしてないかな。
Although actually we don't really have the time to really interact with our club.
じゃあ一体何してるにゃ？
Faris is still speaking Nyan Yanian.
合コンとか。
Ah, the wonderful life of a university student. I think Faris and Ruka now have very good reason to be surprised. Their shouts filled the whole street, and once again people turned around to stare. We should probably get off the street.
そんなに驚くことないだろう。俺だって普通の大学生なんだから。
Indeed.
そうですよね。すみません。でも、
Ruka was fidgeting like he wanted to say something.
フェイリスというものがありながら、他の女の子たちと楽しく合コン。許せないにゃ。
I think Daru would evict us would kick us out of the future gadget lab if that were the case.
勘違いするなよ。俺は女の子なんか別に。
In fact, I went along with the rest of the club, but there wasn't really any place for a wannabe normal like myself. What is a normal? Probably the opposite of a otaku. A normie is a person who lives satisfying and fulfilled normal lives. Examples are people with lots of friends, or people with girlfriends, or people who spend a lot of time at their school clubs, or who go to parties, or who aren't interested in anime, or who go outside Japan during summer break. Of course, I can imagine Daru glaring at us and uttering the phrase "death to normies." There's no way I could keep up with the conversations that the normal normies had. While the other men and women were having fun, I just kinda sat there. A matchmaking party was a challenge far beyond my capabilities. I wasn't going to tell Faris and Ruka that though.
いいなあ。マユシーもオカリンと合コンしたいのです。
Mayuri doesn't seem to mind one way or the other,
何？
but it's definitely a surprising declaration from you, Mayuri. Mayuri wanted to do what? Is she old enough to be interested in that sort of thing? I think she wants to match people up rather than be matched. Kind of like how her cosplay is. She loves designing cosplay costumes, but she hardly ever wears them.
だってみんなで楽しくパーティーするんでしょ。
And Mayuri enjoys having fun with everyone. Evidently not. That's Mayushi for you.
間違ってはいないけど、なんだか微妙にニュアンスが違う気がするにゃ。
And Faris is trying to explain things to Mayuri, but I don't think Mayuri is as clueless as her behavior would lead us to believe.
場所はラボでいいかな。ルカ君とフェリスちゃんはもちろん参加ね。あとダル君やナエちゃんやスズさんも。
So Mayuri wants a party with the other lab members. But I think Mayuri, you have touched a very sensitive spot. Mayuri turned to me with a guilty look. Sooner or later, Rintaro, we are going to have to cross that particular threshold. Suzuha, so she's still in this timeline. Suzuha Amane, also known as John Titor, a time traveler from the year 2036. A true warrior who was still fighting even as I was trying my best to give up. I'd barely seen her since summer. I was avoiding her at all costs. Part of the reason I'd stopped going to the lab was that she spent all of her time there now. Until about a month or so ago, just hearing Suzuha's name was enough to cause flashbacks, and it was all I could do to endure them. Flashback is a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. Patients who have undergone extreme trauma can, suddenly without warning, find themselves reliving memories of those experiences. Flashbacks can cause symptoms like palpitations and shaking hands and feet. Just like the memories of Kurusu Makase. After 3 months, I could finally stand to hear her name. But I didn't think I could keep it together if I met her in person. Of course, it wasn't her fault, and I wasn't blaming her per se. I remind you that the Suzuha in this world line is from the Beta world line 2036 and not the Alpha world line 2036. But we didn't want her to blame me. She never came out and said it, but when she looked at me with that razor-sharp glint in her eyes, I always felt something like guilt. The weight of 5.7 billion people on our shoulders. Mayuri is trying to ease the tension and bring us back down to a semblance of normality.
ダル君と一緒に考えてるオペレーションがあるんだ。
So you've been collaborating with Daru, have you?
オペレーション？
It sounded like something the old Ho in Kyoma would have done.
っていうと、どんな作戦かにゃ？
I wonder if she still calls her operations by cute, vague names.
すずさんを笑顔にしよう大作戦。
Yeah, I knew it. For those of you who don't know, or those of you who do remember, Ho in Kyoma's operations had basically ties to Nordic mythology. But Mayushi is still Mayushi. Why was Mayuri talking about this out of the blue? No, maybe it wasn't entirely out of the blue. She might have been thinking about it for a long time. So I decided to respond as cheerfully as I could. Operation Make Suzu Smile again. Because the beta world line Suzuha is very taciturn and detached, whereas the alpha world line Suzuha was more cheerful and relaxed.
聞かせてくれよ、マユリ。
Unfortunately, the alpha world line Suzuha is no more.
マユシーは思うんだ。すずさんって普段は怖いけど本当はすっごく優しい人なんじゃないかなって。
Indeed, Suzuha can be quite intimidating, but she is definitely
ラ
kind.
ボにいる時にね、マユシーがソファーでうとうとしちゃうといつの間にかタオルケットがかかってたりするの。
That's certainly considerate of her.
すずさんに聞いてもそんなの知らないとしか言わないんだけど。
Suzuha tries to hide it, but Mayushi has figured it out. That's our
僕も
Mayushi.
そういうことありました。以前お父さんに買い物を頼まれて、その帰りに荷物が重くて困っていたんです。そうしたらあまねさんが通りかかって何も言わずに持ってくださったんですよ。
So, Suzuha is trying to do the best she can to help the people closest to her. Her only real fault is her incredible devotion to her mission, although we can't entirely blame her for wanting to avert World War III.
へえ、初耳だな。
That's the case.
こんなこと当たり前だから誰にも言うなって。あ、言っちゃいましたけど。
Yeah, you kind of let that slip, but I'm sure she'll let it slide. And we won't say anything. In the Alpha World line, she was a cheerful girl who smiled at everyone and who loved to go mountain biking. But in this world line, she wasn't the type who smiled a lot. The Alpha Suzuha was fighting against CERN, and this Suzuha is fighting against, well, she's not really fighting any particular organization, but she's trying to save the people who are left in post-World War III and Armageddon. This was partially due to the way that this Suzuha had grown up. I'd heard about it third hand from Daru, but because of the universal conscription program that started after World War III broke out, she'd been forced to undergo military training ever since she was in middle school. And after that, she joined up with the anti-government forces and got caught in a terrible struggle. After that, he said, she never really smiled. That doesn't sound too good.
だからね、すずさんを本当の笑顔にしたいのです。
Well then I suppose we'll have to swallow our pride and make that a reality.
で、具体的には何をするのかにゃ？クリスマスパーティーだよ。
Well, it'll be nice to celebrate Christmas.
クリスマスパーティー？
Though Mayuri didn't really, has only just let that out of the bag. We all spoke in unison.
もうすぐクリスマスでしょ。すずさんね、そういうパーティーをやったことがないんだって。だからマユシーはすずさんにそれをプレゼントしようと思ってるんだ。
Mayuri, you are far too innocent for your own good. Faris and Ruka nod at almost the exact same time.
その話乗ったにゃ。
Well, that's 2 votes, 3 votes.
ありがとう。
And Mayuri seems happy that they are deciding to join in. So I suppose
オカリンも参加してくれる？
that is the $64 billion question.
そうだな。
To go back to the future gadget laboratory is to face
ダ
our
メ
past.
かな。
俺はともかく鈴葉が嫌がるんじゃないか。
Then again, we'd have to deal with Suzuha at some point. I was never going back to the past. I still couldn't forget the look on Suzuha's face when I told her that. It was an expression filled with anger and despair. She must have felt like her last most desperate hope was crumbling away right in front of her eyes. The words she said to me were still sharp thorns lodged in my heart.
鈴葉は俺を嫌ってるし。
Not after what we did.
マユシ
But then
ーは
again,
そう
the
は
burden
思わ
was
な
too
いよ。
much.
すずさんはね、オカリンを怒っちゃったこと後悔してるんじゃないかな。
You truly are a gentle
その
soul,
気持ちを
Mayuri.
素直に言えないんだと思うのです。
You truly are the spark at the heart of the future gadget
そうだ
laboratory.
ろうか。
きっとそうだよ。
I couldn't turn her down after Mayuri said that.
わかった。少し考えてみるよ。
We'll sleep on it or something. At least Mayuri is happy.
ところで岡部さん、
Apparently Ruka has something to say to us. There was a bit of hesitation in Ruka's voice.
診察はどうでしたか？
The therapy session. Evidently, Ruka had heard about my counseling from Mayuri. Maybe he wanted to see me because he was worried about how it went. And we can't entirely blame him. I guess I'm making Ruka and Faris worry too. In this world line, they hadn't joined the lab, but even so, they were still dear friends. The term lab mem refers to official members of the Future Gadget Laboratory and anyone who's been given this designation has free access to the lab. Lab members are given numbers in the order that they joined, which would probably mean that the only lab members in this timeline are well, technically Rintaro has resigned from Lab Mem 001, but Mayuri and Daru are 002 and 003.
催眠療法というのは初体験だったが、なかなか興味深かったな。
Yeah.
俺は
Certainly was an
今まで
interesting
催眠術なんかには
experience.
かからないと思ってたよ。驚いた。
And yet it did work.
かかっちゃったんですか？
Yeah, the things
見事だな。
physicians can do these days.
へえ。
And Ruka seems rather
そういう
surprised.
ルカニャンも催眠術とかすぐにかかりそうだにゃ。
Don't tease Ruka, Faris.
そんな。
And that is the first hint of self-confidence that you've shown ever, Ruka. Because Ruka is very timid and shy. But so this is a nice refreshing change.
確かに速攻でやられるだろうな。
Ruka would believe anything he told him. Wouldn't necessarily call him gullible, just incredibly malleable. Anyway, there was no point in standing around forever. I was getting hungry, and it was time to find some place to eat. Let's go find some grub. Now where
Nah.
to eat?
お前たち何が食べたい？おごるぞ。
Yep, looks like Rintaro is going to be paying for the meal. We decided to head to Yodobashi. There were a lot of restaurants there, so it was perfect.
やったにゃ。超なじゃなくてオカリン太っ腹にゃん。
It's probably going to take Faris a while to call Rintaro Okarin, but
ありが
it's
と
a
うございま
start.
す。何食べようかな。唐揚げかな。
And Mayuri still enjoys her juicy chicken number
ジュー
one.
シー唐揚げ？
マユシーはそればっかりにゃ。
Indeed. I walked behind the three of them, and I thought to myself, what would it be like if Kurisu was here? Now that is a very, very deep question there, Rintaro. And that's it for this particular episode of Let's Play Steins Gate 0. When we return, adventurers, we shall go to Yodobashi and eat some fried chicken. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.